Hello everybody, welcome to another video. It's time. It's the third batch, the third wave. Today we're looking at the engineer. We're looking at the elementalist, who of course I'm very excited about, and of course hopefully Liz is very excited about here. And we're looking at the engineer, elementalist, and the revenant. So hopefully Arenanet saved the best for last. I actually thought last week's were pretty good mostly. Antiquary's a really iffy one maybe, but overall, I think especially with the richness, they did super well. Let's see what they have in store for us. So just before I read this blog post and before we go over the trailer on these, I'm just going to explain what I know about them already. First of all, they announced weeks ago, one of the very first announcements was that the Elementalist was called the Evoker. It also appeared in the main trailer for the expansion with like a little pet, like a little elemental pet. I thought it was big and in the background, but I think it's little. Now, what I'm really excited about with it is the idea of having a pet. If it's a full-blown pet, that'll be amazing. But what I want is something that like shifts elements with me. I think that could be quite cool and quite interesting. Maybe they'll add an F5 where you can control it. I don't really know what to expect there. I don't really know what the lore is going to be there. I've tried to keep myself in the dark about this. The blog post is about 12 hours old, though. And someone left a comment saying that the lore really got them interested in it when they weren't before. So that's my guesses and my thoughts about the Evoker, which we know a bit about. Then we have two icons. We don't really know which is which. And two names for the engineer and the rev. One is the Amalgam, and one is the Conduit. My guess is that the engineer is the Amalgam, and it's about like merging things. I think it'll be the one that looks like an atom, and we're fusing particles together or something. I don't know. And then the rev is the Conduit. And if I'm right that the rev is the Conduit, it's kind of a weird name because, I mean, we're always communing with other stuff. It's kind of just another way of saying revenant, right? In a way. I mean, Revenant is kind of the bad name. Revenant means to come back from the dead. I mean, I guess the spirits from the mists are kind of doing that in a way. So anyway, I don't know. But if it is the Conduit, I guess the icon is like the thing I thought was a fist. I'm guessing is now more of like a trident, like a lightning rod, something like that. So that's it. Oh, okay. And then also for the rev, I do unfortunately already know a spoiler. In the process of setting up this video, I grabbed the screenshots, I grabbed the trailer. And I did see, of course, the concept art for the rev. And I only looked at it for about a fraction of a second. But it's a very, very obvious silhouette. I'm 99% sure that the rev legend is Razza. Wow. Now, some of you guys listening to me, you'll be like, Razza, who, what? Don't care. We'll talk about it when we get to that section, I guess. But that's quite interesting and exciting too. It's funny because last week the Balance devs said, hey, nobody has guessed this. I'm pretty sure I've seen people guess it. You know, I threw up a post on Blue Sky saying, look, isn't that an alarm bell? If nobody's guessed it, surely it's something people will have guessed what they want. So if they haven't guessed it, surely we're going to get something people don't want. I'm pretty sure people guessed it. I think someone in my own Discord guessed Razza. I know I had a recent conversation about Razza. So anyway, good. Congrats to you guys if you managed to get that right. I guess we'll see that when we get to the section. Let's just jump straight on in with the blog post and the trailer nice and early, as we have done. Obviously in the background there, I'm on the Festival of the Four Winds. These are the Paragon skills. So here we go from last week. The final three elite specializations, say Arenanet. The Elementalist, the Engineer, and the Revenant. So, and then they just throw us straight into chat. Okay, so we'll do the chat. Isn't this even earlier than normal? What about an introductory paragraph? All right, so let's see what we got. I'm going to be mostly quiet while I watch this, because this is blind for me. This is my first time.
Peggy 12.
Evocation was a veiled practice among Norn shamans, but the spirits of the wild have encouraged them to share this practice with Tyria. Evokers channel the elements to summon forth a familiar to join them in battle.
Oh my god, a frog!
A cunning fox familiar to throw flaming projectiles at your enemies. Call forth the gentle otter and quench the battlefield with cleansing waves. Electrify the scene with a hair cast from lightning and storm. And break ground with the help of an earthen toad, fortifying yourself. These familiars will be your strongest allies in battle. Protect them as they protect you, and help the spirits of the wild connect once again with the greater world as the Evoker.
So spirits of the wild stuff, eh?
Asuran ingenuity has done it again with the creation of the mercurial mold, an amalgam.
Ah, nice. So I got it.
Microbial biology to their new ferrofluid friend to enhance their body in battle. Shred your enemies as you throw out globs of slime to form flying discs that cut anything in their path.
Whoa.
Command your ooze to form around you as you melt to avoid incoming attacks.
Oh my god, with the T1000 and one
that stand too close. And don't
Sorry,
forget
what is the robot in Terminator 2? Is it the T2000? T3000?
The enemy as you cleave them with a blunt mold. As an amalgam, bond with your mold and adapt to the ever-changing battlefield.
I like the look of that.
A mysterious entity is at play. Raza has been watching Tyria from the mists. Channel their powers, assume different forms, and devastate the battlefield as a conduit. Channel Raza and gain ascension skills. Gain their powers, but only for a limited time. Learn their abilities to better understand the best path to victory.
Ascension
Through your connection
skills.
to the assassin, warrior, mesmer, monk, and dervish. Unleash powers that have not been seen since the legends themselves. Through your connection to Raza, find strength, resilience, courage, and purpose as the conduit.
Oh my god, so much to say that. Hold on, with the Raza thing. So it's buffing the other legends in some way or another. That's really cool. I like the thought of that. It's interesting. Did they just pair Malix with Mesmer? Wow. Very excited to see that. The Quicksilver thing, I think, looks quite good. I will do commentary on each individual thing, I guess, as we're on the section. Oh my god, this trailer more than any of the other trailers had 1,000 things popping through my head. All right, let's see what Arenanet say. Let's jump in. Who are they going to do first? Evoker, I guess? Today, here's the introductory paragraph. Today we're unveiling the final 3 Elite specializations coming to the Visions of Eternity. If you missed our previous reveals, make sure to check out the Elite blogs for the Mesmer, the Ranger, the Guardian, the Thief, the Necromancer, the Warrior. Before we dive into the details of the Revenant, the Elementalist, and the Engineer, make sure you tune in on our Twitch channel on this Friday on August 8th for a live preview, blah, blah, blah. Okay, good. All right, the Evoker. First of all, I think I remember... Didn't I say on the video with Boots that I can imagine that bunny icon being fiery? It looks so good, doesn't it? With an exception of the fact that some of the icons don't really seem appropriate. Like, are the cards appropriate for the Scriptmancer? Also known as Antiquary. Is the shield appropriate rather than a lantern for the Luminary? That aside, all the icons look amazing, don't they? I think they look so good. It's great to see that classic Ellie back. Look at her. Dude, is she wielding that Hodgins scepter as well? Emberglow or whatever. So, one of the thoughts I had about this, watching that trailer there, I actually had this thought already. When I realized that the animals were really little... I don't want to be too much of a downer about this. I'm kind of satisfied already with having little familiars and things attached to me, or little objects attached to me. You know, especially on Ellie. And like when I think about Catalyst, we've already kind of done the thing with little animals that we're summoning, right? We get the dragon in air, we get the phoenix in fire. I don't have any energy right now, but you know, you get the turtle in earth, the Kirin in water. So hopefully this feels distinct from that, you know? Hopefully this feels... I don't know, I guess this, for multiple now, I've said, I'd love it to just be a full-blown pet, right? And it doesn't look like we're doing that. So, the Evoker, let's see what they say. Spiritual Summoners. Having toppled the powerful Jotun civilization in the previous Dragon Rise, Jormag was poised to claim the Shiver Peaks. That's really interesting. They just said Jormag killed the Jotun. I mean, I guess that's true. The real story of the fall of the Jotuns about, you know, their loss of magic and infighting and stuff, though, right? Anyway, to claim the Shiver Peaks and beyond when they woke once again. However, as the dragon's influence crept south of the mountainous crown, displacing various Codan sanctuaries, It collided with the stalwart and courageous resolve of the Norn, and their ever-watching guides, the spirits of the wild. Despite their resistance, Jormag's campaign left lasting scars on many of the spirits, consuming or corrupting those that held the line. We saw that in the Icebrood Saga, of course. In the years since Jormag's defeat, the Norn have made strides to reconnect and commune with the spirits. Many now turn to old practices that harken to a time when the first pacts that entwined both groups in spiritual harmony were spoken. The centuries-old tradition of the Evoker. So it's like it's a part of Norn culture. Evoker's a really interesting word, because when we all first heard that weeks ago now, I don't think I will have been alone. Many of us went and looked up where it had historically been used in the franchise. Like, if you run the word Evoker on the Guild Wars 1 wiki search, you might expect to see like a White Mantle Evoker, or a Massart Evoker, or a Forgotten Evoker, or something, which even then wouldn't really tell you much, a Ministry of Purity Evoker. But it might be some small clue. But there's so little. Evoker is such a rare word. So I feel like this is all kind of new ground that we're breaking, a new little element of Tyria's history that we're learning here. Drawing upon the forces of the natural world, these Norn elementalists call upon spiritual companions and empower them with elemental energies. At the spirit's behest, the Norn have been encouraged to share this practice beyond their own to help restore and heal Tyria's nature spirits. One of the big things that my mind goes to here is, there's been so much discussion lately about the dervish and how it's incompatible with Guild Wars 2 because the human god channeling thing is too human specific. The avatar thing is too human specific. No one wants to accept the idea that the humans could just share this practice with the other races of the world. But look here. I mean, Arenanet just gave you that exact story. This is Asura channeling spirits of the wild because the Norn gave it to them. And we're just going to hand-wave that. And most people will just accept this story and say, well, yeah, that's fine. That makes sense. So what goes through my mind is, well, surely you'd accept that for the dervish too. Maybe it's because they have big plans with the gods and there's some element of selfishness and priority for humans that they want to talk about or something. Anyway, first time we get proper Norn lore and we get to share it. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I like the idea. I think they have justified it in story. I'm not going to sit here and say Norn have always been my favorite, because they haven't. But, at least when I look at these little creatures, then I'm looking at... I know I'm looking at spirits of the wild, I suppose. Damaged, corrupted, changed as they might be. So what do they do, though? So this paragraph, this section might be slightly more mechanically oriented. Familiar friends, every evoker starts with a choice. Which I already love the sound of this. This first sentence is ringing all my bells. Every evoker starts with a choice. Which element do you want to specialize in? Because I'm someone that believes in, elite specs that do exactly that. Or give you new elements, Give me an acid element, give me a steam element or whatever. Selecting an elemental skill on the F5 slot will specialize in that element. Wow, that's really interesting. That's kind of a new way of handling Buildcraft, right? Give you a new slot and you slot it. Granting a few new... Oh, I wonder if the Rev is about to do this too. I wonder if the Conduit's going to do the same. I slot a legend for Raza to boost. Anyway, first the attunement skill for that element will have a significantly reduced recharge time. Okay. In addition, some of the evoker's traits and utility skills will be affected by your chosen element, so a bit like glyphs. And most importantly, a familiar of that element will join you on your adventures. Fire specialists will be accompanied by the cunning fox. Water join, so it's not going to be elementally shifting, which was one of my little hopes. That was a very personal thing, I'm not going to hold it against the game for not doing that. Fire specialists will be accompanied by the fox, water by the mischievous otter, air by the agile hare, while earth gets the stalwart toad. The familiar has 2 different skills that are available in the F5 slot once they are fully charged. A basic skill and an empowered skill. The basic skill is charged as the evoker uses weapon skills, requiring a total of 6 to fully charge. It's funny, we see a lot of relic design, ramping relic design that does similar stuff to this, right? Weapon skills that match the familiar's element will count for double, meaning that only 3 fire skills will be required to fully charge the Fox. The Familiar's empowered skill will unlock after using its basic skill 3 times, and that's when the Evoker and their Familiar unleash their full potential. Okay, so I go weapon skill, basic Familiar, weapon, basic Familiar, weapon, and then I go Super Saiyan or whatever, right? I like that. I've liked all these new weapons, like when they added like Mace to Ranger. I've liked all these things where you have like these mini ramping features baked within. The Evoker is a flexible specialization capable of filling a number of roles depending on which element you pick to specialize in. Those leaning towards fire may choose to focus on condition damage, as the Fox will complement those builds well. What I think I like the sound of this. Really interested in that. Very excited about the stream in a couple of days. What I think I saw in the trailer was something a bit similar to the Gale shot. If you guys watched the Gale shot coverage, it was like every few projectiles, like bonus projectiles, were getting rained down. I swear I saw the Fox doing that just now. So we might see something similar there. So this is going to favor anything with quick weapon skills, right? You don't want to do long channels. Sorry to the Meteor Shower Staff fans, even though you can like quadricast that nowadays. You want to be executing stuff quick. Nice low ICDs or non-existent ICDs if you can cheat them out by queuing something else. Cancel cast spam. Are we going to go to Elder Scrolls Online gameplay a little bit? I like it. Okay. I don't know what I'm looking at here. Oh, is that the ultimate? Is the ultimate all of the spirits doing stuff all at once? Is that what it is? I see earth. I see plasma. I see... You know, I see fire, I see lightning, I see water. It's funny how often in LE design they end up doing something like this, right? Like something that combos all the elements. Catalyst had it on the hammer. I know the hammer isn't necessarily a part of Catalyst anymore. You know, you got the Weaver Elite. We got this thing. Fiery Foxes. Oh my God, they're still talking. Okay, I thought we were moving on from the section. The Fox's basic attack skill is called Ignite. When activated, the Fox will launch a fiery missile at your target, dealing some damage, inflicting... Is it instant activation? Inflicting burn... You know, like when I use the flip over... Like I'm in game right now. If you look at the skill bar at the bottom, when I use my elemental and I use the flip over, it's instant, right? It doesn't overlap with my other stuff. It's just a command, really. After using Ignite 3 times and hopefully inflicting a good chunk of burning, Evokers will gain access to the Fox's empowered skill, Conflagration. Using this skill will summon the Fox near your target, after which it will perform a leaping strike that inflicts burning and also spreads any burning from that target to nearby enemies, up to a limit. We thought that spreading 1,500 burning stacks might be a bit too powerful. Let me read that again. Using the skill, it will leap and do burning and spread burning from that target to nearby enemies. So it's burning epidemic. It's epi for burning. Why is that number so high, though? 1,500 burning stacks. What are they talking about there? A 50-man meta where everyone's burning? I see. So we get a condition-specific epi. Arenanet? That's a really good idea. That's a really good idea. You can put that on some other specs in other places. Very nice. I like that. And Conflagration, by the way, Spirits of the Wild, Nature Spirits from Guild Wars 1. One of the Nature Spirits was the Spirit of Conflagration. Cheeky little connective tissue there with the theme. I like that. This is one where the details will be what sinks or swims it, I think, for me. If it has quickness on it, I may finally have something that's not just running around on Catalyst all the time for standard play. Very nice. All right. Okay, next. Now, so I guessed right here, this is the Amalgam. Not that it was a very hard guess, all right? This is the Amalgam. Jesus, the chart looks... Okay, we've already established that the characters that appear in this concept art are the ones from the original slate, right? I don't remember his hair looking like that. That guy's been to the hairdressers. Look at him. Oh my God. His horn looks awesome too. All the colors and everything. The art is so good. Okay, I think there were a few guesses going into this that this was going to be Quicksilvery. Brilliant guesses. Everyone who went on the Quicksilver line, you're geniuses. That's what it is. I think this is good. I like NG specs that take like a technology, take an idea, whether that be holotech for the hollow smith, or Quicksilver, I guess, as we've got here, whether it's mechs and Golomancy or whatever, Golomancy tangent. Let's say Jade Tech. Jade Tech really is the mechanist thing, isn't it? I think that's a great way to handle elite specs, and their themes, there are so many they can go for. I really, really like that. The Amalgam, oozing with power. Obviously a good fit with the Juggernaut, too. Asuran scientists have studied... Was he using the Juggernaut in the trailer, or was that was a weapon skill, wasn't it, we saw? You might not want to use the Juggernaut in the trailer, because you might not want to confuse people about what they're looking at. But it will fit, so it will go so hard. Asuran... Okay, can I just say, personal touch. There is one reason I don't really like playing NG. It's because I hate Grenade Kit. I hate a hidden cooldown that I have to tediously and constantly swap into to throw Grenade 2 out. Grenade Kit killed NG for me in recent years. I know not everyone's going to agree with that or feel the same way, but it's always like, when I play NG, I'm like having fun, and then I think, how can I play this a little bit better? And it's, put Grenade Kit on. And then I don't want to play it. So if this gives me a reason, like, I don't have to feel bad for not having Grenade Kit. I'll be very happy. Not that I expect that. Anyway, oozing with power. Asuran scientists have studied, manipulated, transformed, and occasionally displaced oozes at every level of scientific research. Endlessly adaptable. Oozes can absorb the property... Oh. Wait. We're not talking about actual oozes, are we? It's not like a meme thing. I want to see the word Quicksilver. Endlessly adaptable oozes can absorb the properties of substances and living creatures they come into contact with, and a recent breakthrough has allowed them to be used as a powerful tool for both defense and offense. The mercurial mold is a special species of ooze. It literally oozes. It's an oozemancer. Okay, I'm gonna have to chew on that. I half love it. Actually, I think the scales are tipping. I think I really love it. I think that's hilarious. But why not go the whole way? Why do it silver and all that? Come on. Maybe there are green ones. Maybe there are red ones. Maybe it's all kaleidoscopic and rainbows. I mean, it would fit into enough of the game's aesthetic at this point. The mercurial mold is a special species of ooze that can... I mean, I would have... If I was going to do this, I would have called it an oozemancer. You got to own it at a certain point, right? Can form a symbiotic bond with its owner and interpret their needs in battle. Oh, it's like an AI, guys. But they won't say AI because of the moral panic about AI. So it's lightweight, responds instantly, requires no special feeding, and best of all, no fatalities have been reported as a result of the bonding process. Why not give it a try? You bond with an ooze. Oh my god. Can it feed on you? Maybe once or twice a year? Okay, so I'm going to assume that is not the Juggernaut. I'm going to assume that these are their animations. Slime time. Bonded with their mercurial mold, amalgams are engineers. So what's the gameplay here? With unparalleled adaptive capabilities. Being adaptive is like the engineer's MO, right? By being able to freely customize which morph skills they select, you can arrive to any fight with the right tools to survive and dish out damage. Amalgams can temporarily meld with their slime, resulting in an altered or even mutated form. Is it like loads of transformations? Oh, we didn't see that in the trailer, though. An Amalgam's experimentation results in a malleable fighter that can always find the edge in combat. This isn't saying anything, though, Arenanet. There's not actually any gameplay info there. Amalgams replace the engineer's utility... Here it is. Amalgams replace the utility tool belt abilities with morph abilities. There are several morph skills, and you can select which ones to fight with in the same manner you select your utility skills. Ah, okay. Can I just say one thing I haven't noted in any of my coverage of this wave of elite specs, but has been well worth talking about the whole time, and I failed by not talking about it really, is with EOD, obviously we had the Untamed, and we had this new idea of selecting even weapon skills. The idea that you can make certain slots customizable that were not classically customizable. That's a very powerful thing, And I think it was well within people's rights to wonder if that was going to happen this wave too. That's a great thing to have expected and wondered about. And here we have it, right? I mean, it's for tool belt skills, not weapon skills, but, you know, I think that's really cool. So I guess when you're Arenanet and you're thinking about replacing the tool belt skills, you're thinking about how much work it is to replace so many abilities and to create so many. You can't do the insane Weaver dual skill thing every time, right? So you're looking at ways to not have to do that. So just providing a selection and letting someone customize them. There you go. So I wonder how many they've done. Do you think it'll be in the... I reckon it'll be in the ballpark of about 8. Because that's about as many as they could get on the Antiquary for their stolen abilities. Slightly different situation, obviously, but... So there are several morph skills. You can select which ones to fight with. The same manner you select your utility skills. The morph skills command the mercurial mold to shapeshift into different forms, such as shield, defensive spikes, or even a massive sword. That last sentence lowers my enthusiasm a little, because it does feel... Didn't we just do this with the Antiquary? But you're not stealing them now. You're not stealing them. You're morphing them. Okay? It's different. So, like, why does the Antiquary get the sword, get the guitar, and this guy get the sword? Could we reverse that? No. Morphing is a very different thing. Don't ask that question. Okay. I like the shader. Do you know what? It's very Metal Mario from Mario 64, isn't it? Become one with the mold. Your elite tool belt skill is replaced by Evolve. Really? Evolve briefly combines the engineer and mercurial mold into one being, granting... Oh, there is kind of a transformation, granting a host of benefits. These benefits, however, are unique to each slime. As you select your morph abilities, your mercurial mold's composition is altered to also change what happens when you evolve. So the combo of the first tool belt skills I pick gives me a unique F5. These compositional shifts, called strains, and I guess that's a keyword when it comes to traits, can vary from granting super speed and quickness to stunning nearby enemies when you evolve. This looks like a very fun build crafty one. Really, really keen on this for the beta. Amalgam's utility skills are like stances. Sorry, not like stances, they are stances. The mercurial mold can assist you shift your form, making you as dense as steel or as light as a feather. With the skill Liquid State, you can even melt down into a puddle. I think we saw that in the trailer, didn't we? Oh, and then it's over. Okay. I like the theme. I expect they'll have some crazy OP effects on it, what we've seen from the other streams recently, and then they'll balance them down as time goes by. Yeah, I would play this. It seems pretty fun. And it seems an interesting sort of new build crafty thing. I'm just trying to think about Buildcraft websites, whether they're going to get annoyed because they're going to have to update the UI in some way to account for what tool belt skills people are going to select. Okay, and then finally, oh man, we're at the end, guys. Oh, this is it, number 9. Number 9. So once we've read this, we know them all. We can do good tier lists. And I want to hear your opinions, everyone, in the comments. You know, so I can maybe snapshot a few. We can do some Q&A. So here it is. So that's Razza right there. I mean, it can't be anyone else. That is Razza wielding, like, so that concept art with that eclipse, if you will. That eclipse weapon looks amazing. It looks fantastic. That is such a cool element of the concept art. I will note that is not a part of the elite spec. That is just a scepter in-game already. It's like a gem store scepter. So it's not like we're going to go in-game, I think, and get that. Unless I'm mistaking it and, you know, it's a staff that's on the gem store and he's going to get the scepter version or something. But nonetheless, so just so that everyone knows, all right, I'm not the biggest Razza fan. Not really. I think people instinctively will say, oh, WP loves every Guild Wars 1 reference. This is another Guild Wars 1 reference here. And I do to an extent, like by default. But Razza is not the most interesting character to me. I'll give you a little anecdote. Years ago, before Guild Wars 2 even came out, there was a community event being hosted in the Henge of Den Ravi. I can't remember what it was called anymore. It was like a guild used to run it every year. Maybe someone in the comments can remind me. I think it was called like Masart Fest or something. I don't know. I can't remember. Anyway, it was in the Henge of Denravi. And some Arenanet employees, I went to it once ever. Some Arenanet employees turned up. And people started asking them questions about Guild Wars 2 because Guild Wars 2 was coming out. And they were answering what they could and having fun with the community. It became this big thing, like a big live Q&A, impromptu there in Guild Wars 1. And I remember the entire time, maybe 4 hours of this event, there was one guy in chat, and I'll never forget it, who kept saying, seriously guys, this was like 2010 or something, all right? Well, I'm talking about 15 years ago. There was a guy saying, will Razza be in Guild Wars 2? Will Razza be in Guild Wars 2? Will Razza be in Guild Wars 2? And getting ignored every time. And the entire time he spammed that. And the entire time, all I could think was, Razza doesn't matter that much. And clearly the devs didn't think he mattered that much because he wasn't in it originally. Razza is interesting. Okay, so basically after Nightfall ends, you find out there's this thing. It seems to have been maybe created. It's like a construct that was being built in the realm of Torment. Probably a party to Abaddon, but like it hadn't got to the point that it had been indoctrinated or taught anything. So it was kind of just like a blank slate. And there were naturally some questions to that. Like, what is this entity? What does it do? What does it think? Why is it here? What was Abaddon's plan? And so there is, and you know, it's potentially immortal. It could be around 250 years in the future. Could be off having adventures in the mists. Practically, as far as the game was concerned, it was designed to be the final hero, an optional hero at the end that you could miss, and it was a hero with a variable profession. Now, they never managed to release the game with a variable profession, so it was actually a ritualist. For years, it was a ritualist, and then right in Guild Wars 1's Twilight, they finally made it variable. But so to me, Razza was always a ritualist, really. And he had no personality. As far as his actual comments, he was just asking questions about the world. And what he actually was, guys, Guild Wars 1 was full of tongue-in-cheek pop culture references. And Razza is a carbon copy of Star Trek The Next Generation's Data. Do you guys you remember Data, the android from TNG? Data is unquestionably one of the best Star Trek characters ever made. Brilliantly portrayed by Brent. I've never known how to say his second name. Spiner. Absolutely excellent. A really cool character. I love Data. And so I got a kick out of Razza dropping Data quotes everywhere. But that's all he is. He's Data. So, you know, I like Razza, and it's cool. I'm not, like, buzzing with excitement. I'm interested to see what they do with the lore, and I'm very interested to see whether I'll be getting Data quotes while playing as him, right? If I'm going to channel this legend, am I going to get Data speaking to me? That would be amazing. So let's see what they do. Obviously, there's all the mechanics and stuff too. Let's see what Arenanet say about the lore. Look, just by default, the idea of another character that knew the GW1 hero, who's been around for 250 years, and out in the mist having adventures, a sense in theory. I mean, we don't know. He was on Tyria with us before. Let's see what it says. The Conduit, channeling the past. Centuries ago, the hero who defeated... They're jumping straight into it here. Centuries ago, the hero who defeated the fallen god Abaddon met a strange entity, imprisoned deep within the realm of torment. Razza, a being born of the mists. Freed by Abaddon's death to seek their own purpose in life, Razza chose to accompany the hero across Tyria. Their boundless curiosity led them to study and master any number of martial and magical disciplines. There you go. So what they're referencing there is the variable profession and stuff. Hopefully this little history lesson was useful to you guys. But Raz's story seemed to have ended with their companions. No one has seen or heard from them since. They may have returned to the mists to wander, or fallen to the corruption they once feared. They might have learned to mimic human behavior precisely enough to live 100 lives in obscurity. Or they could have been watching our world, still learning, and waiting for someone like you. This is all kind of fun, but Arenanet, I kind of consider it up to you to answer these questions now, not just keep them there. Surely now's the time to write a story. What's he been doing? Don't just tell me it's still a mystery. That's a cop-out. All right, there he is. With his big, you know, that's the big icon as you tune to him. Floating over his head. His proportions seem a bit weird. Do you know what? He actually reminds me a bit of Kratos. The body. Just the body. From recent God of War. Harness the mists. After the complexity of having 2 different legends in the form of Saint Victor and Archimedes in End of Dragons, we wanted to focus on a single legend that offered an equally unique experience. As a denizen born of the mist, Raza is the first living legend to assist the Revenant in their adventures. So he's still alive. Is that what they're saying? Which is funny, because Jarlis turned to stone, but if he's still around... I mean, do we have a definitive end for Jarlis? I can't really remember. All the stuff at the end of the Icebreed Saga kind of blurs together to me a little bit. With the... There was like the Fallen King, wasn't there? A destroyer called the Murderer of the Fallen King or something? Which could have been Jarlis. With the Conduit, we wanted to portray the multifaceted nature of Razad's unique link to the Mists. Thus, the Elite Specialization was designed to have a malleability and flexibility that reflects Razad's ability to transform into any profession. Yeah, it's funny that they've paired these last 3 together, because they all feel like brethren, don't they? With this malleability angle. By amplifying the Revenant's connection to the Mists, the Conduit can tap into a deeper well of power through the legends they choose to channel, further augmenting their existing strengths. So yeah, I talked about this a lot. I like the idea of a Rev legend that gives you multiple legends, but we do have to accept the fact that that was already a thing in EOD. But they did it where like a legend was a toggle. It wasn't like you actually had 3, right? So what have they done here? Okay, so we're like roaring, we're communing, we're flexing, we're stretching, something like that. Legendary Affinity. As the Conduit, you get... And by the way, I think that name is justified for Raza. If Raza's tapping into lots of other legends, I think it's a great name, actually. You gain the ability to use Cosmic Wisdom, allowing you to further channel the powers of your equipped legend, giving rise to different forms. Different forms. As an example, using Cosmic Wisdom with Legendary Assassin stance equipped gives you access to Form of the Assassin, granting the Conduit bonus power and movement speed, as well as inflicting debilitating conditions on foes you strike. So they're not like new skills. It's not like another version of Shiro. It's sort of some buffs. Cosmic Wisdom only lasts for a limited amount of time, but it can be extended through the use of Affinity. So we're playing Monster Hunter now, right? Crit damage? That's what Affinity is, isn't it? Or is it Crit Chance in that game? I can't remember. Affinity is a new resource that represents the strength of your connection to your legend. Affinity can be gained through using any legendary skill that costs energy. Each point of affinity you gain increases the duration of Cosmic Wisdom by a set amount. However, you lose all affinity when you swap legends. I see. So the flow is go into a legend, spend a bunch of energy, thus charging your affinity, and then do the affinity thing. So you sort of go in and then you have a big blowout mode, a big final phase, and then you swap out again. The trick is going to be, okay, if I've blown all my energy to get the affinity, what am I actually going to do once I've got the buff? So maybe affinity gives me energy back via some traits or something. I don't know. When I unleash, so to speak. Thanks to the power, or it's like you have a mini burst mode after each legend. Thanks to the power of Raza, Conduits gain access to Legendary Entity Stance. Bringing with the... See, this is the weird thing as well, right? So, like, one of my legends is going to be Raza, right? So... bringing with them various skills that harken back to when they wandered Tyria as a hero. Each skill in Legendary Entity Stance has an effect called Resonance. It's a bonus that comes into play if the corresponding legend is equipped in the other slot. Each skill is... each skill has resonance. It comes into play if you're equipped in the other slot. For example, Beguiling Haste. That's an assassin skill from the original. Applies to Days. Normally, Shadow steps you to your target while becoming a quick attack. While performing a quick attack on them. However, when Legendary Assassin Stance is equipped as your second legend, the skill becomes an AoE, allowing Conduits to Shadow Step even without a target, and strikes all enemies in the vicinity. That's funny they have that design in there, because last week on the Antiquary, they had a Shadow Step skill that was supposed to be an escape, but it was only to a target, which makes it really bad as an escape. Like, yes, you could use it on an ambient mob if there's one around, or if you're in World versus World to a gate or a wall if there's one around. but that's not reliable. It's not even available in like PvP as a format. It's not available all the time in PvE. It's just wonky. But here they've actually lent into it, so that's interesting. Oh, what? But I don't understand. No, not live stream this Friday. No, come on, give me another one. Ah. All right, this one I can't get my head around at first glance. Blind, first impressions. This one's tricky to imagine and figure out. Big one for the stream, I think. But it's a good idea. I like it. It's clever. I think the theme works. I think the name works. I think picking Raza, talking about how Raza could swap professions, and this is leaning into those. And, you know, it's funny. If Raza was a party to the Guild Wars 1 hero, many of those characters he could have, like, been in the vicinity of. I mean, Shiro's a bit of a question mark because factions had already happened, but maybe he saw him while he was in the Temple of Madness or something. I don't know. The Temple of Abaddon, sorry. At the Gate of Madness. Or was he still in a pod? He wasn't quite a life form yet at that point. I don't know. Anyway, I could sort of see it. I really can. I think that's a fun idea. It's another big Guild Wars 1 idea, and I know not all of you guys are huge boosters and huge fans of that. But yeah, okay, first impressions, my rating of these three. They're kind of all on par, and that's not like a negative thing for me, that they're all on par. I think they're all equally interesting, and they're all okay. So I'm going to give it to Evoker, purely because I quite like playing Ellie at the moment. The Amalgam is so funny. They did a Quicksilver thing. Why isn't the icon an ooze? What? What's this weird atom sort of icon? Screw that. That should be an ooze. I mean, I guess it kind of looks a bit oozy. If they rounded the tips of those... And I mean, I guess there's an oozy blob in the middle. Yeah, this is going to come so down to the gameplay, guys. I don't know whether I can rate these last three and do a full tier list until I see the next stream. So, you know, for the other 2 weeks, I haven't really done a dedicated cover of the streams. I have given my thoughts on them over on the live tab. So check out the VODs. I've got, especially on last week's, I've got loads and loads and loads that I've talked about with it. I might do a dedicated video on it with maybe a tier list in there. Some community feedback. Drop your comments, guys, and we will do something on these last three. And a bit of a sum up. Let me know what you think. Thanks very much for watching. It's been really fun covering this with you all. It's cool to have Elite Specs back. It definitely is. If that gives you some value for the expansion, if any of these look fun and you're going to buy it, please do remember in the very top of the description I have a link. And if it doesn't cost you anything, but if you click that before you buy it, it supports the channel. So please do consider that at any point. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Let me know what you think. Seriously, I'll be in the comments. Check out the live tab for a longer edition of this. And I'll see you on the next one very soon. Take care, guys. Ta-ta for now.